What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we got a pretty interesting archetype. They're called the Vanquish Souls, and they kind of look like that they're supposed to be like fighters in a video game, which is pretty cool if you're fans of, fighting video games. This one actually reminds me of Arms from the Nintendo Switch, but pretty cool stuff indeed. Let's go check them out and let's see, is this archetype going to be good or is it going to be a meme archetype? So starting right off, we got the Vanquish Soul vs Razin. So it is a Fire Warrior effect, level 4, 1800 attack, 1500 defense points, and its effect is you can only use the first effect and the second effect of this card's name each once per turn, and you cannot activate them in the same chain. So the first part is if it's normal or special summoned, you get to add one non-warrior Vanquish Soul monster from your deck to your hand. Okay. And then the second part, as a quick effect, you can reveal the appropriate monster or monsters in your hand to activate one of these effects. If it's a fire monster, this card can't be destroyed by card effects this turn. If it's one fire and one dark monster, you destroy all other monsters in this card's column. That actually is a pretty dang good effect, depending on if you take one zone, place this one, the other one, just slam it down the line over there. I think that's pretty good, but I mean, obviously being able to search one is pretty good. But okay, so this one's a fire, the next one's an earth, so there's going to be like probably like a multi archetype over here. So next up, we have the Vanquish Soul vs Panthera. So it's an Earth Beast Warrior effect, level 4, 1700 attack, 1900 defense points. It says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn, and you cannot activate them in the same chain. The first part is if you control no monsters in the main monster zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. So easy summon requirement. Second effect is, as a quick effect, you can reveal the appropriate monsters in your hand to activate one of these effects. So if it's an earth monster, that can't be destroyed by battle this turn. The other effect, with an earth and a fire monster, you can destroy all spells and traps in this card's column. So it's a column archetype. All right. Next up, we have the VS Heavy Borger, which is a Dark Machine effect, level 7, 2500 attack, 1500 defense points. Maybe this is like their boss monster of the archetype. It says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn, and you cannot activate them in the same chain. First part is, during the main phase, as a quick effect, you target one non-machine Vanquish Soul monster you control, but return it to the hand if you do special summon this card from your hand. So easy summon condition. Second part of the effect is, as a quick effect, you can reveal the appropriate monster in your hand to activate one of these effects. So if it's a dark monster, you get to draw one card. So if it's one earth, one fire monster, you get to inflict 1500 damage to your opponent. So they have the ability to destroy spells, traps, and do some burn damage. The burn damage, I just realistically don't think, unless its effect could be activated multiple times, because it's the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn, so it's a hard once per turn. So yeah, I mean, maybe if they're really low, it's like a cowboy for game, but 1500 is actually not too bad of damage, but because you can't just normal summon it. Yeah, if you could, it's still like hard, because in a burn deck to have like 2 bonus monsters in your hand, those are really like Solar Flare Dragon, what is that, another like Earth Zero Gardener or something like that, like first stall. I just still see it being realistic for a burn deck. Anyways, next up though, we have the Vanquish Soul vs Dark Mad Love, which is a Dark Fiend effect, 1200 attack, 2000 defense points. It says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn, and you cannot activate them in the same chain. The first part is, if this card is normal or special, you get to add one Vanquish Soul, spell / trap from your deck to your hand. Second part is, as a quick effect, you can reveal the appropriate monsters in your hand to activate one of these effects. So if it's a dark, you get a dark monster, you get a it says one face-up monster opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense. That's very mediocre, but it is a quick effect, so maybe you can get some, your opponent attacks into you, but the stats on it are pretty mediocre. The other part, as a dark and an earth, you get to return one face-up monster on the field with the lowest defense to the hand. Your choice if tied. If it was just a bounce back 1, we're looking at like, okay, you have finally a good disruption, but because you don't have control over it, yeah, it's kind of loses a little bit of value, right? Next up, though, we have Vanquish Soul vs Pluton HG. So this is a fire zombie effect, level 600. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn, and you can't use them in the same chain. First part is, during your opponent's turn, if you control no monsters in the main monster zone, or all monsters you control in the main monster zone are Vanquish Soul monsters. As a quick effect, you get to special summon this card from your hand. Second part is, as a quick effect, you can reveal the appropriate monsters in your hand to activate one of these effects. So it's a fire monster. This card gains 3000 defense until the end of this turn. One dark and one earth, gains 3000 attack until the end of this turn. Okay, I mean, it's just still, at the end of the day, it's just 3000. If you're really looking for like a zombie deck to get massive just stats, my friends, the Skull Servants would probably suit your needs. But, I mean, it is an easy special summon. But the problem that I have with this whole archetype is you still have to keep those monsters and you have to reveal them so your opponent knows what you got in the hand for like your hand traps potentially. So that's where I see it kind of falling short, because not only do you have to have the one monster, but then you have to have the double cards to reveal, and at that point that's like half of your hand turn one, right? Next up, though, we have the VS Kaiser Various, which is an Earth Dragon effect. Okay, this is probably their boss monster. It's a level 8, 3000, 1500 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn, and you can't activate them in the same chain. First part is, during the main phase, as a quick effect, you can target one non-dragon vanquished soul monster you control, return to the hand if you do spell summon this card from your hand. Now, what's interesting with all these effects, what if you just put like DNA Transplanter Soul? You could just keep on summoning these, right? That'd be an interesting effect. Although this is first second effects of the card's name, so like they already kind of like ruined that. But anyways, second part is quick effect. You reveal the appropriate monsters to activate one of these effects. So if it's an Earth, you get this face-up card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects this turn, so it protects itself. And then if you have an Earth, Fire, and a Dark, you destroy. Oh, you have to have three cards to pop one. I mean, you could go literally Tanky Search Bear, pop one card. I mean. What? I don't know. Am I crazy for thinking this archetype reveal was just way overhyped? All right. Okay. Maybe their support will make it broken, because as of right now, it's like a 2 out of 10. It's yeah, it's like a coaster kind of an archetype. Rock of Vanquisher, Dark Rock Link effect, 0 attack, and link 1 is on the bottom. It requires 1 Vanquish Soul monster, so it can't be used as link material. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. So the first part is, when you control a vanquished soul monster, your opponent's monsters can only target your monster with the highest attack for attacks, their choice if tied. Second part is, during the main phase, as a quick effect, you can activate one of these effects to spell from one vanquished soul monster from your hand, or to add one vanquished soul monster from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so it just lets you spam the board with more monsters, and they have to attack the other cards. Okay, so it kind of like leaves itself to kind of some protection. Next up, though, we have the Vanquished Soul Dust Devil, which is a quick play spell that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. First part is, target one vanquished soul monster you control, change its battle position. Then you can change face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position up to the number of vanquished soul monsters you control with different names. Okay, so this actually makes this much better, because this card, you instantly go for it, and then you could just add one of the cards back, and then you can maybe just instantly special summon it, giving you instantly 2 for a double Book of Moon effect. They're already countering the Kashteras, as a lot of you guys have probably seen the Book of Eclipse, or any of those booking the things face down is what people are going for. So therefore, that would be the reason why people would maybe consider this as an archetype, but you still have to control 2 monsters, and you might not be able to go for double monsters when your opponent locks you out of all the zones, right? So there is the downside with that. Next up, but it is a quick play, so it does have that bonus effect. So that card's not super bad, but it's not broken. Next up, we have Vanquished Soul Continue, which is a quick play spell card that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. You pay 500 life points, then target a vanquished soul monster in graveyard, either add to your hand or special summon in defense position. Okay. Next up, we have the Vanquished Soul Trinity Burst, which is a normal trap card that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. First part is to target a vanquished soul monster you control, special summon up to 2 vanquished soul monsters from your hand with different names from each other and different original attributes from the targeted monster, but their effects are negated. Also return to the hand during the end phase. Then you can return all opponent's cards in that targets and the summons monsters columns to the hand. Okay, so you get busting out double monster sounds good if it was from the deck, but to require you, I guess you would reveal first, maybe pop some cards, and then you'd be like, okay, now I activate this card, and then I'm getting them out, their effects are negated, so you can't activate their effects. Then they have to survive until the end phase, and then you get to bounce back the cards. I just feel like it's way too conditional good luck. If it said 2 Vanquished Souls monsters from the deck, then I'm like, ooh, that's actually not too bad. But that's, again, you have your 1 Vanquished Soul, because you have to target one that you control. Then you got to bring out 2 more of them, and this card has to be there. That's 4 cards already. At that point, just run Exodia. There's your 5 combo pieces for a GG. I just think it's so conditional. All right, maybe they'll make it up with the other support. Okay, there's got to be some card that makes this archetype good, right? Vanquished Soul Calamity Kaiser counter trap card says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. When your opponent activates a spell, trap card, or monster effect, it has to target cards you control. And you control a Vanquished Soul monster. Negate the activation if you destroy that card. Then you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of 1 Vanquished Soul monster you control. Okay, so now it's like, okay, you do some burn damage, you get the extra 15 burn damage. What is this archetype trying to do? And then they're like, okay, fire formation, tanky reaper. Dude, I don't even feel like this archetype is fixable in its current state. I don't know. Like, I was really hyped up because they got some cool artwork, but man, they dropped the ball on this card. Okay, be honest, guys. Am I just making this archetype look really bad? Or am I just bad? Like, this archetype is 2 out of 10. It's a skip. Use them as coasters because they got cool artwork. But that's all I gotta say for the VS as of right now. Is the archetype savable? Let me know down below if there's any cool other like combos that we can do with it, because at face value, I don't see it here. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you're new here, subscribe, turn on the bell, because they gotta get some more support, and I'll cover it. It's gotta be broken though, because it's looking pretty shallow for our Vanquish souls. Anyways, catch you guys next one. Peace out.